So the new Saints Row trailer came out recently, and after seeing it, I was a little concerned. No, I wasn't upset like everybody else seemed to be with the wacky hipster tone it was giving off. Saints Row has always been sort of over the top, so this wasn't anything wildly new. What was off about this trailer and the subsequent interview was that it sort of implied that this new installment would have a pre-made main character and not a customizable one like all the other iterations had. Of course, this question was quickly addressed on Twitter, but it raised an interesting thought. How does having, or not having, a customizable character affect a game? Having the ability to mold what a character will look like and then being able to play as them is a pretty unique experience within gaming. It's like getting to choose what actor plays the role in a starring movie. It can even be you, or a cool idealized version of you that people actually like. To start off, let's take a look at the two and a half different methods of character creation. Method 1 is zero customization. These are characters that are created for you and you can't change outside of maybe like a hairstyle or some clothing. These are your established figures like your Geralts, your Lara Crofts, your Sonics. The next level up, we have this weird middle ground. You can basically design the shell for a named character. Think of Commander Shepard, the Herald of Andraste, or V. The final method is when you have total control over a character's look. You get a decent amount of flexibility into creating the character, but they may either not say anything at all ever, or can't even really be considered a character. Think The Sims, or XCOM, Saints Row, Wasteland, or literally any MMO ever. None of these different ways of doing things are inherently superior to the others, but do dictate the focus of a game. Having an established character means that the story is theirs, and you are simply along for the ride. They get an actual name, a backstory, they have personalities. These are characters that can become iconic within pop culture. When you talk about games like God of War, you talk about Kratos and excessive violence. These established characters become interesting in their own right. While it's maybe harder for you to project yourself onto them, they have histories and interactions that exist within the world with other characters that make them interesting to engage with. A game like Mass Effect, okay, I'll use a different example for once. In a game like Cyberpunk, you get to build the character you want and sprinkle in choices here and there in terms of dialogues and actions to make you feel like you have more control over that character and their story. This is arguably a more immersive experience, but it doesn't tend to create these iconic characters because how you might have played that character can differ wildly from how someone else played them. Of course, this isn't to say those types of characters don't exist within these games. Shepard from Mass Effect has a recognizable version of the character that exists in pop culture, but even when speaking about them, you'll tend to say things like, "My Shepard did this," acknowledging the fact that how I view the character and how I played them may differ from person to person. Finally, if you get the chance to fully customize a character, a blank slate, the chances are that game isn't about the character. Even if the game has a story, you're really just there for the gameplay. Any character interactions and world building tend to take a back seat to just letting you enjoy the world and have fun. Letting you pick how these characters look is just part of the fun. Letting you fulfill your fantasies of a life with your crush, or seeing which of your friends would die first in an alien invasion. The degree to which games let you customize the appearance of your character can tell you a lot about the focus of the game. However, there are a lot of games out there that give you the option to customize a character when it really doesn't matter, or even worse, can end up taking away from the experience of the game. Don't get me wrong, I know that tweaking a character to get them to look just right can be fun, and spending hours even before the game starts is basically a game in its own right. But for as much fun as this is, it really doesn't make a lot of sense for games like, let's say, Cyberpunk, where you spend the whole game in first person. Aside from looking in the mirror, you never really see how your character looks. Even in dialogue and cutscenes, you won't see your character, so what's the point? However, these are minor complaints about the system. Where it becomes especially egregious is in games that do have both custom and pre-made character options, like Divinity Original Sin 2. Here, choosing to play as your own character robs you of a lot of the unique story beats and plot threads that the game has to offer. Maybe you'll miss out on a unique quest, or unique lines of dialogue, or a possible character interaction, just because you decided to play as your own character instead of a pre-made one. A custom character will never be as fleshed out as a pre-made one that the developers created. They just lack depth. Customizable characters bring with them a certain set of expectations when it comes to gameplay. Including this feature doesn't make a game inherently better or worse, but the presence or lack thereof can set the tone for the whole game from the beginning. If you're looking for something with a deep narrative and characters that grow and change over time in a way that makes sense, go for one that has pre-established characters. If players are expecting a sort of self-directed style of game, it is almost implied that they will be able to create their own character. Not having it as a feature is like promising a build-your-own sundae bar with only vanilla ice cream and sprinkles. That can be fine, but you'll be kind of disappointed. That's it for today. Thanks for letting me talk gaming.